He's the commissioner of the NBA. He's David Stern back on the show. Commissioner, how are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Are you ready for retirement?
I'm ready to step down as commissioner.
And then what happens?
Stay tuned. I have several months to decide in what shape and fashion I will augment the continuing work that I'm going to do with the NBA in international matters.
So, okay, well, can you expound upon that a little bit more?
Well, I've said to Adam if he would like to send me to China for a week instead of a weekend, I would consider going. And we have a sort of an understanding that I will be available for travel and business and diplomacy in places where, having long-term relationships and a bit of age is a good thing.
What did you make of Dennis Rodman in North Korea with some of the Harlem Globetrotters?
Well, it's interesting. I started out being very negative because I thought that either he or the company that was going with him should have had some communication with our own government about whether to do it and if to do it under what circumstances. But as I read the newspapers on global affairs, it remains the case that Dennis and the crew are probably the only Americans that have had contact with Kim Jong-un. And I don't know that that's a bad thing because I haven't seen the piece on HBO. I hope to, but I understand that the way it's been edited, it makes Dennis look like a statesman, and I'm sure there were statesman-like statements in it, as unusual as that sounds.
It was fascinating. It really was.
Yeah.
And Rodman was not Rodman. He did present himself in a way that I think would have been representative of what you would want with the NBA or former player or Hall of Fame player. I thought he handled it pretty well.
I was told precisely that. Of course, I was reading some of the out of the video quotes at the time, which colored my view, which was Kim Jong-un is a cool guy and his father and grandfather were great men, or something like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that I would charitably call that misguided. But on the other hand, I think he may have done something that's turns out to be more positive than negative, and that, of course, that would be a good thing.
He's the Commissioner, David Stern, joining us in New York before flying to Miami tonight's Game 7. Before I get to that matchup, I wanted to ask you about the turnover with coaching now, and how is it players dictating who's coaching them as opposed to coaches who are coaching stars? That maybe we have it sort of inversed order there. How concerned are you with the turnover with these guys, that you don't have many guys who stay in the job longer than 3 years?
Well, I don't know that this is a record year for us. This is a continuing issue for our league and others about turnover in coaches. Number two, I really think that the whole issue of superstar coach/manager interaction is something that has been with sports for a long time, and over the years, it's interesting to see who wins those confrontations. I haven't kept score, but I think what we're seeing unfold here, Dan, is a real leveling of the competition. There are many teams, as shown by our playoffs, that thought they had a real shot not just to make the playoffs, but to advance further than they actually did, aided, and this will continue to be the case, by a combination of a salary cap system that is good for competition and aided by revenue sharing, which eliminates the notion that teams can't afford to spend for the rosters that they're permitted to fill under this system. That being the case, I think that owners are going to be impatient. Well, if we've done all of this, why isn't my team doing better? And the net result of that is the order that happens is first the coach, then the general manager, and owners don't usually fire themselves. And so I'm not going to say this is just a blip. I'm saying that there's going to be a looking for accountability based upon rosters that are going to be spending much more similar amounts of money than they used to. And so this is not necessarily something that's going to be cured by one turn of the carousel.
I know you're heading to Miami for tonight's Game 7. Curious,
Yes, I am.
What's better for the league, parity or dynasty?
Oh, I think that a competitive league is a great league. I think that what we try to tell fans who we ask to support us is that if your team is well managed, then you have a chance to compete. You don't have to look at the exhibition season as the start of just another plummet to the depths of competitive hell. Over time, your team will continue to improve. And, of course, in that context, if there's one team that has the magic of 2 or 3 players, a Michael Jordan, a Kobe, a Kim Duncan, a Magic, a Larry, an Isaiah, and they rise to a certain level, or a LeBron, then that'll happen. But the focus of collective bargaining has always been on enhancing competition so that 30 teams have an opportunity to compete.
Well, I look at the Heat, and the Heat become national news that, people outside of NBA, the casual fan, less than casual, will still know about the Miami Heat. So I look at dynasties or the potential for a dynasty that's sort of transcendent with the league, that you can have other teams that have a chance. Memphis has been a great story, the Clippers, with what they've done. But I still think having that one team with the bullseye on them, no pun intended, is important for the league because it brings other people in who may not be. Well, it's like Tiger Woods with golf. You have the one guy you're shooting for, and that's, to me, the Miami Heat.
I think the best days of a league like ours are when people know about our teams and know that each team has 2 or 3 players that they'd really like to go in and see, and that they're going to be competitive, home team or visiting team. And I think that obviously in that system, whether it's through the draft, through trades, or through free agencies, we've seen, Celtics, Lakers, Bulls, Heat, Pistons, particularly the Spurs, over the last several years. So it's kind of interesting to me. I think I take it personally in this regard. It's our job at the league and at the teams to promote and let people know about our teams, not cling to a dynasty.
But why didn't San Antonio click with America? Brilliantly run. You can't find fault with the coaching staff, with the stars. They're efficient. They run their organization the way you'd want a blueprint for an organization. But they haven't clicked with America. Why?
Well, I think that the steady and, to me, captivating and brilliance of Tim Duncan has not translated into the sizzle that the media is so attracted to.
But I think this is also, and blame with SportsCenter, because when we showed highlights, we were showing dunks that we got to the point. We weren't showing, a nice crisp bounce pass or backdoor cut. So there is partial blame, I think, that I'd put on myself in SportsCenter.
Okay, I don't know. I wouldn't call it blame. That's just where the glamour goes. But if you watch Tim Duncan bank one off the glass, it's beautiful.
Well,
it's beautiful.
I know for those who appreciate a nice bank shot, but that's part of the problem. You know, you're trying to sell a highlight. I'm sorry, a crisp bounce pass or a nice bank shot. It's just not happening.
Okay, but we're getting there. Okay, it may have taken a shot at 5. It may have taken a possible 5th championship with a deciding 7th game. Or the Heat's 3rd championship with a very exciting team to cause the extraordinary result we had in terms of viewing Game 6, and I'm sure the terrific results we're going to have as people tune in. And once they tune into Game 7, they'll understand the contrasts, they'll understand the teams, and particularly what I like about this finals is all of the writing that's going on about the hard work that has gone into both assembling these teams, and working together with them and establishing a system. They're both models that other teams are emulating.
Safe travels to Miami as always, and good luck with that next career.
Thank you so much.
All right. David Stern, NBA Commissioner.